you've literally admitted multiple times to being logically inconsistent. So no, I don't think I'm the one confused here.
Okay. You know what? I think this was a bad decision. I've really,
Okay, well, there's no like again.
All right.
Bree had a supplement question. If you scroll down to the bottom of the comments, Bree, what's your supplement question?
I'm done. I don't need that in my life. I don't. I really don't, and I apologize for getting. But it's like the endless game of chasing your tail, your logic, and none of this is. If you find benefit from that, good. I am just completely done. I'm completely done. Trying to talk about logic and then putting words in my mouth. Trying to make up ridiculous scenarios or whatever. I'm over it. I'm just over it. You guys can completely draw your own opinions on whether I am an idiot or a fool or overreacting. That's fair. But I don't want this channel to be like this, and I don't want to get to this, and I'm just done. I don't like Richard as a person, but I try to respect him, and I'll leave it at that. These types of discussions, roid rage, yeah. These types of discussions, they provide no take-home benefit for anybody. They're just exercises in pseudo-intellectualism. How much can we push? When you hear discussions between two individuals and all they talk about is logical fallacies and straw man arguments, and look, we all get what that stuff is. But human beings are emotional creatures. Decisions are very tough. And let's see here. To try to boil everything. All right, let's move on. You guys were too nice, if anything. That's the last time I have anybody on the channel.
Except me.
Except for. So.
I think it just got derailed. There were some good things we could have discussed, some points that could have been raised as far as like muscle building, nutrition, tactics like that, what some strategies are to make sure you're not missing your bases, but that's not what it turned out to be. So there was one other study I found that was kind of interesting that I wanted to discuss. It was a recent 2020 study that found that fish eaters, vegetarians, and vegans all have higher incidences of fractures, site-specific fractures, and hip fractures than omnivores or carnivores, which I found that interesting. And those aren't just associational studies. Those were direct links from a giant Oxford study that had 29,000 meat eaters in it, 8,000 fish eaters, 15,000 vegetarians, and 1,900 vegans in it. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, there were some interesting questions I want to get into, but one of the things I didn't want to do, and I knew I just had a sense it would end like this, is going round and round, and in
semantics and
semantics. Like, I'm a pragmatist, and I do not hate Richard. I don't like that style of discussion. Because I'm a pragmatist. I'm 53 years old. And, in my world, I'm just trying to help people get by. Decisions are very, very difficult. And, these semantics debates and logic debates and ethic debates, whose morals, right? Whose ethics?
Yeah, plus there's necessities, like, do you need to, we've had this discussion before, do you need to do something? Like, what's the baseline requirement? But that's removing enjoyment, pleasure. Like, sure, we can always just look at food as pure fuel. Can you get everything you need just from plant foods? Sure. but with the exception of B12. But where's the enjoyment of food? Like, there's just something very satisfying about eating a steak or a really runny, nice over easy egg, and just mixing and matching. Butter is delicious. There's a certain amount of gratuity and indulgence and enjoyment that comes from eating certain foods. And we can't ignore that. Sure, we can be robotic about certain things and say, well, you only need this to survive. But, I mean, we don't live by pure necessity. That's kind of what makes humans humans. Like, we have that higher order thinking that cows, dogs, chickens, locusts, grasshoppers don't have.
I like all these people. I like the occasional comment. The loser name calling. It's not about winning or losing. I'm not trying to win a debate here. I'm trying to help people. There was a lot of good discussions we could have really had. But I knew going in that it would be ethics, morals, and I was trying my best to pull things, because if you believe, I don't believe this, Robert. I don't believe that trying to reason with people is going to change the average individual.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe I have that power. I'm not that egotistical. I'm not that arrogant.
Right.
I believe you can intelligently provide information for people and let them make their own decisions. But I don't believe that having a discussion on whose ethics or morals are better than others is going to change anybody. I really don't, other than maybe one person. So call me an idiot if you believe otherwise.
I would agree with that.
All right. I am about done for the day, Robert. I don't know about you. I appreciate Richard joining us. Angry, frustrated, yeah, certainly. I wouldn't really call it anger, just frustration. But I simply can't go on. I just can't. I'm good.
Okay, man.
No, I mean, I'm good with this discussion. I mean, I would love to get on here and talk about, veganism and, both of us, are strong proponents of a plant-strong lifestyle. But, I think there's a lot of good that we could have accomplished here, and I'm not placing that burden on, on Richard, saying it was his fault. But I just think there's a lot of good we could have accomplished here as a group. And I just got tired of wasting our, my logic falls apart. Well, that's fine, but human beings are very complex, and I hate black and white thinking. And when we try to turn everything into a switch, I don't really think it benefits anyone, because that's not the way life is. That's not reality. So
yeah, making a few jumps. I mean, there were some examples, or extreme examples, I think, that were a little bit far fetched. That weren't exactly relational to what we were trying to discuss.
All right, so all this aside, we're going to return next week to our regularly scheduled programming. And yes, I did kick Vegan Gains off, and mostly because I was getting out of control and getting a little tired of it. And when I get to that point, you know what? It's just time to end the conversation for everybody. So, all right, Robert, that was fun. What are you doing this weekend?
Well, we're finishing up a little earlier than usual today, so I've got to do some writing. I've got to get knocked out.